My name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to talk about Senzo Meyiwa and the investigation of the case. Guys, I'm cooking a dombola here. I'm sitting at my lounge and I'm cooking here. The stove is right there. The kitchen is there. And then there is also washing machine. I'm not sure how loud are those things are. In case you are hearing sound, background sounds, it's that. I'm sorry in advance. Okay. Now let's get into the video. This is not one of those situations that you can call, yeah, there was a murder case or there's someone was shot, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. That is not the case here. This is not just a murder case. This is a case that shocked the country, divided the public, and exposed something deeper than crime in our country. That is what it did, especially Gauteng province. That is what it did. Because after all these years, was this case investigated or was it manipulated? And if you want to ask those questions, you need to go back to the date that he died, Senzo Meyiwa. You need to go back to the day. You need to go back to the time between 5 and 10 or between 5 p.m. and 12 midnight on the 26th of October 2014. Your questions first, they must be there. You must surround everything with that. And then you will have so many questions and then you will try to piece things together. But all the answers that we need are laying right there. They are there with what happened between that time. They arrived and then between 7 and midnight, 7 p.m. and midnight, 12 p.m., 12 a.m. What happened then? 26th of October up to 27th of October 2014. What happened? The people that went inside that house, what was happening? All of that situation that was okay. There was a scuffle, and then there were shots, 3, 2. We're not sure. Maybe 3, maybe 2, because the people that were inside the house, they have proven to be not trustworthy because of what they said in that courtroom. So the people that we will still give a benefit of a doubt when it comes to courtroom, it is Kelly Kumalo, her mother, and Longwe Twala. The rest, we can't say much about them because we heard things that we will anyone that did not take the witness box, we will still give some sort of benefit of it out. As much as but we don't trust them, because they never told the truth. We will perhaps make excuses for them and say, perhaps they are scared, somebody threatened them, blah, blah, blah. We will say such things, little excuses for them, but we still want the truth. Now, even the neighbors that saw, heard, whatever, we still don't trust you guys. Nache guy, we don't trust you because your evidence, saying, do you understand? So yes. Now, let's talk about on the day, 26th of October 2014, Senzo Meyiwa is shot dead inside a house full of witnesses, and yet no immediate arrest, no clear suspects, no solid closure. Nix. For 6 years. Fast forward years later, 5 men are suddenly charged. But instead of clarity, the case gets more confusing. And a lot more questions they keep popping up. Now let's talk about the crime scene problem. Let's start where every case begins, the crime scene. Because if the scene is compromised, the case is indeed compromised. And the people that dealt with compromising that scene, let's say Umapiri was the friend of Mama Kakeli. And then Umapiri cleaned the house because she did not know when Senzo was taken to, this is me. I'm just trying to put perspective. I don't know what happened, but I'm trying to put perspective. Umapiri didn't know what happened in that house because she was not inside the house. And she thought, oh, but okay, there was a shot, but that means they took Sonze to hospital. Perhaps she was hopeful Senzo is going to come back. Now, if police come here and these people are found that they were fighting and they were drinking, she cleans. She cleans. I want to believe there was no story at that time, story of they were intruders and stuff when the people went to hospital. The neighbors, they did not know of any story. I want to believe. Unless, of course, from the phone calls that were made while Senzo was just shot and people inside the house realized he is gone, they started crying and then called Chico. Okay, they phoned Chico. Unless from that call, there was a story that was formulated. Once that call was made and Chico was told this is what happened, and then there was a story of the intruder, then that is exactly what they told the neighbors. Hence, now it becomes uneasy for us as South Africans to say Maphiri is innocent. Do you see where I'm going with this? I started to put her as clean as possible. But now when we are looking at factors that are mentioned there, we are like, no, man, then why did she clean? If the story before going to hospital was there were intruders that came in, why was she cleaning the house? Even if they were drinking, why would she clean the house? Now we want to know from Maphiri who told her to clean. There is a statement of a lady that said, why are you cleaning? Leave everything as it is. Allow the person. She was like, no, I must clean so that the police must not see that the people were drinking. Why? For the why would she do that? Why? Do you understand? So there's a lot there. Alone, do you understand? So there are questions that needs answers there. Who told Maphiri to clean? If no one told her to clean, why did she see the need to clean? Why was she making that business hers when it was not her house to begin with? What was going on there? Now, allegations emerged that the scene may have been cleaned, evidence may have been moved, key items were found later, not immediately. We are born again when we spoke about the evidence, crime scene being cleaned. It's not even an allegation, that one. It was a fact. Because even the police that were there, they did say that it was cleaned. Pine gel was smelling. Even General Sibia said that. Now, evidence may have been moved. This is an allegation that is out there. And now we heard from another statement of another police. Was it Mutsweni or Mutsweli? He said he saw Mangena, Captain Mangena, the forensic analyst, taking something from the door. Do you see allegations? Yes. Key items were found later, not immediately. Now, there were people doing up and down in that house. Yet, there are people now yet now we are expected to believe that there was a fragment of a fire of a bullet that was found later the following day around 10 o'clock. But there were high-profile police officers in the crime scene the night before. The night before, there were high-profile police officers. We are expected to accept that bullet Mhlahlo found it the following day. No one else did find it. Njani, it doesn't make sense. It will never make sense. Now think about that. In a murder case, timing is everything. If evidence appears later, the defense only needs one argument. Was this always there or introduced later? And it looks like it was introduced later. That's what it looks like. And once that doubt enters, the entire case starts shaking. Second point that we need to look into. There are two stories that we are dealing with. From day one, there were two versions of what happened. Version one, for the state, the police, the people who were inside the house, armed robbery, intruders entered, shot during confrontation. That's what we were told. Version 2, alternative theory. From the Meyiwa family, they got a call from Tumelo Madlala telling them that Zandi's boyfriend shot and killed Senzo Meyiwa by accident. Now, when it comes to no real intruders, something happened inside the house, the robbery story was constructed, Well, it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, here's the problem. The investigation never fully killed the second version. And in court, that's dangerous because if two stories survive, reasonable doubt survives. Also, the mere fact that we have two dockets is also very questionable because in a proper state of situation like this, in a situation like this, these dockets would have been merged. Why did they not merge these dockets and arrest everyone who was inside the house, including the 5 IQs if they are saying they were sent? And then we were going to see what's going to happen there. Now, the second docket mystery. Enter one of the most controversial elements, the second docket. Bongani Gininda said it wasn't a murder docket, but another officer said things that didn't fully align. So now we have conflicting investigators, conflicting versions, confusion over what was investigated. And here's the issue. A clean case has one clear path. This one looks like multiple investigations fighting each other. Number 4, police infighting. This is where it gets serious. The head of the NPA, Shamila Batoyi, publicly confirmed there were 2 police teams. They were in conflict. The case became a mess. Let that sink in. This is not the theory. This is not a theory from us. This is official. It's there on records. You can see it. You will see Shamila Batoyi telling us that. So now the question is no longer what was something wrong. It becomes how deep did the dysfunction go between those police officers? Point number 5, we have confessions under fire. That's another situation that we have. The state case leans heavily on so-called confessions, but the defense says they were coerced, rights were violated, statements were not properly obtained. And here's the legal reality. If a confession is contaminated, it doesn't just weaken evidence, it poisons the entire case. Point number 6, forensic cracks. Then comes the physical evidence. A key example, DNA found but not matching any of the accused. Now, pause right there. If any of the accused is not matched by no DNA, what does that even mean? In a case built on linking suspects to the scene, that's not a small issue. That's a structural crack. Do you understand? So there's a lot of wrong things that are happening, and we are sitting here as South Africans, we asking ourselves, what's going on here? Who did what? Like we are asking a lot of questions, right? It's not nice. Now, this is the truth most people miss. This case is not collapsing because of one mistake. It's the entire pattern that is happening in it. Scene questions, the crime scene questions, conflicting dockets, police infighting, disputed confessions, forensic gap, all of that is a problem. Individually, they can be explained. Together, they create doubts. So those are the problems. And in court, you don't need to prove innocence. You only need to prove doubt. So the real question is this a case of justice delayed or a case that was never properly built? What's going on there? What are your thoughts? Let's talk in the comment section. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.